Gospel of Matthew. They brought Jesus to Golgotha, which means Skull Hill. And there the soldiers offered him a mild painkiller, a drink of wine mixed with gall. But after tasting it, he refused to drink it. Then they crucified Jesus, nailing his hands and feet to the cross. The soldiers divided his clothing among themselves by rolling dice to see who would win them. And the soldiers stood there to watch what would happen and to keep guard over him. Above his head, they placed a sign that read, "This is Jesus of Nazareth, King of Israel." 2 criminals were also crucified with Jesus, one on each side of him. And those who passed by shook their heads and ridiculed him, saying, "We heard you boast that you could destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Why don't you save yourself now? If you are really God's son, come down from the cross." Even the ruling priests, with the Jewish scholars and religious leaders, joined in the mockery and kept on saying, "He saved others, but he can't save himself, Israel's king, is he? He should pull out the nails and come down from the cross right now. Then we'll believe in him." He puts his trust in God, so let's see if it's true and see if God really wants to rescue him, for he said, "I am the Son of God." Even the 2 criminals who were crucified with Jesus began to taunt him, hurling their insults on him. For 3 hours, beginning at noon, a sudden and unexpected darkness came over the earth. And at 3 o'clock, Jesus shouted with a mighty voice in Aramaic, "Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani." That is, my God, why have you deserted me?" Some who were standing near the cross misunderstood and said, "He's calling for Elijah." One bystander ran and got a sponge, soaked it with sour wine, then put it on a stick and held it up for Jesus to drink. But the rest said, "Leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to rescue him." Jesus passionately cried out, took his last breath, and gave up his spirit. At that moment, the veil in the Holy of Holies was torn in two from the top to the bottom. The earth shook violently, rocks were violently split apart, and graves were opened. Then many of the holy ones who had died were brought back to life and came out of their graves. And after Jesus' resurrection, they were seen by many people walking in Jerusalem. Now, when the Roman military officer and his soldiers witnessed what was happening and felt the powerful earthquake, they were extremely terrified. They said, "There is no doubt, this man was the Son of God."
I stand near the cross. I knew this day would come. I'm with Mary Magdalene and Mary, wife of Clopas. Others are with me in my grief, but I feel completely alone. My son, I cry out. My heart feels like it is being torn out of me. I feel the presence of soldiers. I know they are shouting and mocking, but the words merge into meaningless sounds. My tears are drowning out noises, and I'm losing focus on what is going on around me. I see it clearly on his pained face. He does not blame them. Mary Magdalene puts her arms around my shoulders and she pulls me into her. She tries to comfort me as she too is tormented with sorrow. This grief has sapped all my energy. I feel empty. I do not know what to do now. Woman, here is your son. I hear his voice, raspy and distressed. I look up from the foot of the cross. My tear-soaked eyes sting. His beautiful body, bloody and broken. His hair matted with dried blood. Thorns cutting into his scalp. His body exposed in humiliation. I know, though, that his spirit is not broken. I know who my son is, so special and pure. I draw on all my strength and faith to accept that this is how it must be. But still it is too much for me to bear. I see his eyes fall on John. He struggles to gather the words to speak. Here is your mother. Then to me he says, behold him as your son, who stands there by you, and be as a mother to him. I nod in acceptance. I fear I cannot find words to speak. Only a shrill of agony will come from my lips. My son. I watch him taking his last breath. My own wails of anguish continue to drown out the scoffers. I can taste the dust within my salty tears. My legs feel weak. I am overcome with grief. I do not want my son to see me broken. I pray the Father for strength. I pray for comfort. I pray for this crippling grief to release its hold on me. I pray in my heart for his death to come quickly.
the world can be so cruel. I could never have imagined standing here at Golgotha seeing what has been done to Jesus when I first met him. I could never have imagined someone with such a kind heart and love of people can be treated with such hatred. I pity those filled with darkness that could not and do not see Jesus as the Messiah. The sound of Mary's cries mingles with my own. I put my arms around her for my own comfort as well as for hers. My heart melts when Jesus asks her to be a mother to John. I feel John's presence, a sense of reassurance that he stands with us, with Jesus. His enduring strength is comforting. I hear Jesus say, "I thirst," and watch as he is given a drink. My heart aches and tears fall like an endless flow of water. Then the unforgettable words. He says, "It is finished." And I know Jesus has accomplished all things now. I watched him give up his spirit and felt peace that he was no longer in pain. I tighten my arms around Mary. I feel her emptiness and I feel her pain. My heart is breaking with hers.
I see before me 3 crosses and Jesus nailed to one of them to be crucified with thieves. I struggle with contempt in my heart. My teacher, a healer, my Lord so brutally sacrificed. What have they done to you? I want to weep. I want to wail like his mother, Mary and Mary Magdalene. I want to cry out in agony from this hilltop. Internally, my heart is being ripped out of me. The pain amplified by my love and devotion I have for the women who are with me. I want to be brave. I swallow hard, my eyes burning. My body trembles with sickening grief and apprehension. My energy and enthusiasm drowning in bitterness. Then Jesus calls to Mary, calling her woman, and then looks at me, a glassy-eyed look that is filled with so much passion. Here is your mother, he tells me, and calls Mary to be mother to me. I feel an overwhelming sense of responsibility and honor. I know that I am his beloved. I know that he sees me wise beyond my years. I will forever cherish his love.
I am a thief, but this man they crucify next to me claims to be King of the Jews. Scoffers mock him. People wag their heads and shout, "If you are the Son of God, then save yourself. Come down from the cross." I close my eyes. My head is throbbing and feels heavy. My body is becoming weaker. The wind whips around me from this height. I smell the hot sun against the wood I am nailed to. A pulsating ache courses through my body. Wave upon wave of excruciating pain from which there is no escape. Only in death now will I be free. I throw a look over at Jesus. Is this the Son of God? I ask myself. I see a weak man, frail and tormented, mocked and beaten. Yet his face carries a tenderness. Then Jesus spoke. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." The wind blows dust in my eyes. They sting, and my eyelids feel heavy. I'm losing strength and struggle to hold up my head. My head flops to the side, and my eyes fall on Jesus. Again, I watch him call to the heavens, my God, why have you forsaken me?" I see a drink being given to Jesus. I want a drink. I can feel droplets of sweat running down my face. I want a drink. My body rides the unbearable, painful throbbing. Then the people were telling the man giving the drink to leave him alone. What do they mean? They say, "Let's see if Elijah comes to save him." My head is clammy and feverish. The jeering and taunting are becoming inaudible. So much interest in the King of the Jews. I too am captivated. I know he has many followers and cured the sick. I'd heard of miracles he had performed. In the madness of my death, I know that much. I ask, "If you are King of the Jews, save yourself and us." I want to be saved, to be free from the pain. I start to lose my vision. A sickness resides in me, and I feel nauseated in fear. The thief, the other thief, he's saying something, asking if Jesus fears God. I feel a pang of shame. a deep-set sorrow. Who have I become? But this man they crucify next to me has no fear in his eyes. He does not fear death. He takes pity on the crowd that mock him and speaks only with love. My body is tormented. My head is tormented. I ask, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus replied, assuredly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. There was a softness in his voice that was soothing. Words so comforting, I am overwhelmed. His words ring around my tormented head. My spirit is lifted. I do believe this is the Son of God. The sun was going down now. A shadow crept across the small crowd. Still, people with leathery skin mock and shout at Jesus. I feel my warm breath shortening, and with each intake of dust-filled air, the dryness in my mouth grows and my chest hurts. Then Jesus yells aloud, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. I threw a dry-eyed glance at Jesus and see him take his last breath. Sharp, mournful wails come from three women crouching at the foot of Jesus' cross. And through blurry eyes, I see 4 Roman soldiers approaching. One draws a sword. I close my eyes and pray. I see myself in paradise with Jesus.
My eyes sweep the crowd. This is an interesting crucifixion, I think to myself. I rub the sackcloth material between my finger and thumb. A ripped piece of cloth from this man who claims to be King of the Jews. Lots are being cast for a seamless woven tunic. I neither care nor am interested. I observe women weeping. That's nothing new. A group of 3 huddle together to comfort one another. I recognize them. The older one of the 3 is the mother of the man claiming to be Son of God. I feel neither sadness nor pity. I take a deep, languid breath. The air is dry and dusty and smells of the coming death. The bloody bodies that are nailed to the cross contaminate the air. Their wounds, the rusty nails, the flecks of wood. It leaves an unpleasant odor. I maintain a cold, hard stare at some onlookers jeering at the King of the Jews and kicking up dust. I straighten my back and hold my head up. my presence menacing, my demeanour superior and intelligent. The scoffers quickly move on, mocking as they disappear down the hill. I take a drink of water from my sack as I observe Jesus speak to his mother, words spoken with such love and care. Then I see a man take some vinegar wine to Jesus' mouth with a sponge on a hyssop branch. Then I hear the words spoken with conviction. It is finished. I see Jesus give up his spirit. In this moment, I sense something inexplicable, something I cannot put into words, a moment of doubt. I curl my lip as I shrug off my own thought and step forward with my fellow soldiers. They break the legs of the robbers crucified next to Jesus, for they are not yet dead. That satisfying crunch of bone, followed by a piercing shriek of agony, a sound heard so many times. They are criminals. Their suffering matters not. Unmoved by their pain, I observe Jesus. He is dead. This seems impossible. Death by crucifixion so soon? It is unheard of. I knit my eyebrows and exchange a confused look with the other soldiers. Feeling compelled, I thrust my sword into his side, and from out of the wound comes blood and water. I have an uncanny feeling of being duty-bound. I shudder internally. Something feels different about this man. I stare at the sign, still feeling the fabric in my hand. The weeping is more audible now, as though my ears have opened. I realize all my senses feel heightened. I find myself questioning my own mind. I feel impressed by the way Jesus held up his anguish of the cross. There is a commotion and lots of noise coming from the Pharisees and the Sadducees. I feel the ground quake beneath my feet. Certainly, this man was the Son of God.